Aaron.
Here.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Welcome back, everybody, for a little bit more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're joined today by my good friend, Gary Jackson Moorhead. How's it going, Gary? I mean, Jackson. I'm calling you.
End of a long day for me, so I hope I don't look too tired.
No, and actually, what I usually do is I want to let me pull up your channel before we get started here, because what we're going to be talking about, guys, this isn't going to be a long chat. We're going to be talking about Scientology's missing executives. Jackson worked at the international base with all these missing executives, and he's got a perspective on all this. So, but before we get going, I just want to pull up your YouTube channel and encourage everyone to subscribe, since you're so darn close.
Well, thank you, buddy.
You're so darn close to making all your quotas.
Yeah, it just keeps giving me these prompts. It's like, hey, you're just steps away from getting this and getting that. I'm like, woo.
All right, so here we go. Gary Jackson Moorhead is the name of the channel.
Yeah.
And there you go. You're almost up to 2,000 subscribers. See, I love this subtext: Scientology's soft white underbelly.
Yeah.
For any of you guys who love watching YouTube content, there is a huge YouTube channel called simply Soft White Underbelly. And the guy who runs this channel interviews people off of Skid Row. He just literally, he's done hundreds and hundreds of interviews with people off of Skid Row, and they have the most incredible backstories. Like, you understand that these are real people who've been experienced a lot of pain and hurt in their background. And if not for that, they would in many cases be just like you and I. And you hear their backstories and you understand where they came from and how they came to be who they are. So wow. Scientology's soft white underbelly, I think, is it's actually a great name for a channel. I like how you have it there as the subtext.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the title is my name there listed, right?
Yeah, the title of your channel is just your name.
Yeah. And again, I like to highlight the fact of putting my full name with Jackson reference in there, because that's a lot of people knew me by, and if they're looking for me, Jackson will be part of the search. So
yeah. So you had an idea to do this chat here after you were watching one of the videos that I did yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember at this point. The day was just
yesterday.
It was
yesterday.
And I was talking about Shelly Miscavige. I was talking about how I felt David Miscavige was such a petty, vindictive, small-minded person that even though it would be so easy for him to just put out some video of Shelly without even saying it's Shelly, like some PR video of her, I said, lacing up her running shoes and going for a jog at the Gold Base, being like, look at the paradise these Sea Org members live in. But without even saying that it's Shelly, right? And then people would figure out that it was Shelly, and then it would get, oh my God, it would be so easy for him to do something like that. And yet he doesn't. And I said that I thought that he would consider it a win for Leah Remini if she forced him to do something to respond to something Leah Remini was saying. And you called me up and you said, how do you understand how Miscavige thinks this way? Right?
With never having been there.
And I said, it's just from all the stories that I've heard from all of you, you who worked with him.
And it's kind of impressive, and how it just self-collaborating of stories amongst us. But to you as a listener to our stories, it just proves how well the information is delivered, and that you get complete understanding of the pictures we're trying to portray of what it was like there. So it's just it impresses the hell out of me that those who were never at the base actually understand what it was like at the base, and at that godforsaken, place. It just impresses me, Aaron. So that's what motivated me to call you, just to tell you that, and I was left amazed. How does this dude know this?
So, but do you agree with that assessment?
I certainly do. Yes. And Shelly and all the executives, or anybody who Dave felt was a challenge to his image and his involvement in whatever project was at hand, because there was other staff members that were really good at their trade that Dave heavily relied upon, and even if they were to mess up and not do things as he wanted, Dave still, he had two problems. Number one, he couldn't send this person out to go dig trenches because he was upset and he failed at doing the task. He had to keep him there because he was the only one trained to do it, such as a video editor as an example. Nobody else knew the technology and the equipment and the how-tos to create the wonderful wow factor for the events that Dave was after. And the only thing he can do is issue a goldenrod and label that person incorrigible just to maintain his iron fist that don't screw up on my watch, otherwise hell will follow, you know? What was that from Tombstone? Yeah,
I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah, but anyways, so, you know, I bore witness to these type of activities and saw how Dave did one thing with one staff member and did something other with others. But the underlying observation that I kept witnessing, I felt was witnessing, was this guy doesn't like people challenging what he sees as he's the ultimate competent one at hand here. And he's ultimately the one everybody's listening to. All these other people are just accessories to my glory.
Yeah.
And as time went on, he just found them less and less of value to his glory and eliminated them. And really, your story from yesterday on erasing executives and Shelley as an example, this all began back when the international events started up sometime in the late 80s or early 90s at the Shrine Auditorium, which was really the first place live televised events occurred from, if I remember right. There may have been others, but where Dave would attend, it was a full, you know, a week before the event, go down there and drill it and check the camera angles and the script and rewrite this and rewrite that, so forth. So I would be there as security just to keep mind of the environment that he was in. And one time, probably 2 days before a New Year's event, I was backstage, and the Shrine Auditorium has unionized stage hands. And so by contract of us using the Shrine Auditorium, those were the guys that had to provide all the power and open and close curtains and provide all the stage work required for us to do what we wanted to do. So we couldn't bring in our own staff to run that stuff. So anyways, these guys were just quiet observers in the background watching Dave yell and verbally decimate Ray Midoff and Guillaume and any crew, like a cameraman that couldn't get an angle right and couldn't get a focus. Dave would he'd fly off stage and chew into him. And this guy kind of confided in me one. This is a unionized non-Scientologist, never been in Scientology, witnessing happening. He comes up to me, he goes, "Are we in the clear for a little bit of colorful verbiage? For your, like, don't we have to be in like 5
Are
minutes?"
you talking about my channel? Oh yeah, no, you can curse.
Oh,
It's okay.
so how do you guys live with this little fucking shit? And because he just felt safe. That's like, man, I don't have to deal with that guy. But that guy is just a terrible transmedium devil. And I was shocked that this guy would express this to me. But, you know, it really put into perspective what was at play here. And sitting there day and night and event after event, year after year, seeing this at play. And then he would start whittling down the executives he would have with him during these events. And you know, and I'm my little hesitation here is I'm flashing back to standing behind stage, seeing him come off stage, and his focus was, how's my time? How's my time? How, you know, and he would stand and peek around the corner of the curtain and see the reactions from the staff, how long they'd clap, and to whatever he did, not to what Ray Midoff did or what Heber Gents did just on stage. It was always to what he did. So it just where was our Scientology leader? I mean, where was this? It was an interesting thing to witness at play.
What were the camera people at these events? Sea Org members, or were they also union members?
No, they were Sea Org members. They were our cinematography, shoot crew, staff, cameramen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was two or three of them.
for anyone who looks at the thumbnail of this video, on the far left, that's Heber Jensch, the president of the Church of Scientology International, or former missing president.
Yep.
Then you have Guillaume Leserve, the executive director international of the Church of Scientology International, or former missing executive director. You have Mark Yeager, the commanding officer of CMO International, which we don't have to define right now, but, missing former CMO Int. And then, of course, you have the famous Shelley Miscavige. Now, you mentioned other people like Ray Midoff.
Yeah.
There was between Heber, Guillaume, Mark, Mike Rinder, and Ray Midoff. I guess Norman Starkey is someone who used to address the Scientology audience.
Yeah, about historical Sea Org rubbing elbows with L. Ron Hubbard stories type information at these events.
Right.
And yeah.
And other than those names, I don't think I could come up with another name. Like, I think those are the only people I've ever seen speak at an event. We're not talking about Dan Sherman or anything like that.
Right. No, Rinder was another one, of course.
So one of the things that I said in the video about Shelley that I think, and I want to get your opinion on this, whether it holds true equally for all these other executives,
okay,
is that Miscavige, and this is true for even other people who weren't public facing. This is true for like maybe a Debbie Cook or a Ron Norton or something like this. Miscavige seems to have a problem with anyone other than him becoming well-known, well-liked,
right,
having a sphere of influence, accumulating any kind of power. And there's been speculation whether that had anything to do with him deciding to get rid of Shelley. But what is your opinion? Because it's not just Shelley that he's gotten rid of. He got rid of all these guys. In fact, did he get rid of those other guys even before Shelley?
Well, yeah, he was progressively getting rid of them, breaking them down, demoralizing their character and the value of the positions they held, such as Ray Midoff. He was the most senior technical person in all of Scientology. The caretaker and guarantor of all red on white policy or written documents, L. Ron Hubbard's bulletins being applied purely. And in anything and all, the auditing and processing and counseling side of Scientology, Ray Midoff was ultimately the one to uphold that and see to it that it occurred. And now, each of these people themselves have their own characteristics, their own personalities. And, from Mark to Guillaume to Heber to Ray Midoff had basically just been an administrative staff member, as far as I knew, the entire time. Never performed physical labor, not the physical labor, but in the sense of never joined in the Saturday team renovations work where we go out and clean up the property and staff members contribute to the beautification of the property. Ray Midoff wouldn't even know how to, you could point at a shovel and say, go grab the shovel. He wouldn't even realize it was a shovel. He was that much of not acquainted with that type of world. So Dave, when Dave this one time was really upset at him, I got called up to the Bonneview with where the original L. Ron Hubbard house was, where it's the same general geographic location, but I was called up there one late night. I roll up on the bike and there's Dave and Shelley and this gentleman, Nori, who was kind of a right-hand man to Dave. Whatever he needs, Nori go off and get it and bring it to him. And then there was Ray Midoff, Norman Starkey, these head like 5 or 6 church executives, very RTC staff. Hera O'Hare, she was a very reliable technical person in Religious Technology Center, and they were all sitting there kneed before Dave in a circle, and there was no light except for flashlights. And Nori brought all this camping gear, and Dave was having me observe and telling me about how these guys are assigned up here to do hard work. And in the course of it, he's flashing this flashlight at them as they're trying to read the instructions how to assemble a tent. And Dave would just make these comments like, look at Norman Starkey. If all the SEAL members only knew that the captain from that worked with L. Ron Hubbard doesn't even know how to assemble a tent. And Dave would just cackle and just laugh, just to verbally degrade Norman, make him feel like crap. And, I had to get work assigned to these folks, and I was like, what is going on here? But they obviously did something to deserve this, and I contributed to it. They slept up there overnight. They had to shower by the use of a garden hose on a lawn. And you know, I'll tell more about the story on my channel, but the end result was even I was thinking that he had the best interest in these folks. That when they got their tent set up on the grass and they could barely see, and Dave had them take a shower and strip down in their underwear, including the female, and use a garden hose to shower themselves. I had the thought of, oh, I should go make sure the sprinklers aren't going to come on during the night. So I went and shut the controller off and the valve off. I went back and reported him, sir, I made sure the sprinklers are off. And he goes, what'd you do that for? I said, so they don't freeze and they don't get wet while they're sleeping. And he goes, turn them back on. That'll be their alarm clock. And it was just that coming out of him just shocked the hell out of me. And of course I had to go turn them back on. And he wanted to know at 6 o'clock if they came on as I told him they would, to see if that effect took place where they got sprinkled. And I told them they were up and around before because they knew that the sprinklers were going to come on at 6, so they weren't going to be there consciously. And they kind of defeated Dave's hopeful plan of them being exhausted and not waking up at 6, but only be woken up by the sprinklers. And again, out in the desert at night, man, it would get freezing. So, yeah, I hope that portrayed a concept. That was the beatdowns. And then I had to get them to do their physical labor. And even so much he was concerned about, my assignment was them breaking down a cinder block wall that was filled with concrete, reinforced because of earthquake. So even a bulldozer or a backhoe would have a very hard time doing it. And these guys were their assignment was they're going to bring that wall down by hand through the use of a sledgehammer. So I had to go off and get sledgehammers for all these folks. And I considered, when I was getting this, the different weights based off of their physical capability. Mike Sutter, who was one of them, had more muscle tone, so I can get him an 8-pound. Ray Midoff, doesn't know what a shovel is. I'll get him a 4 or 6 pound sledge so he can at least swing it and make an attempt to make Dave happy.
Wow.
Dave wanted everybody to have the heaviest sledgehammer.
Wow.
In the hot desert sun. And he would come up throughout the day and just drive by to see them completely physically broken down, labor-wise, sweating in the sun, red. Anyways,
wow.
It was more humorous to him, it just seemed. So progressively, that just things like that happened. And I bore witness from that perspective, either contributing and complying to fulfill his needs as a security chief to keep them secure, or seeing him verbally tear them apart down at the shrine in an effort to make a presentation to all the Scientologists internationally for the New Year's event. And if the story's going to only be told what was behind the scenes at that event, nobody probably would have attended because they would have just been disgusted at what he did to get to that presentation and televised point of the show. It's just
wow. Well, I'll tell you what, I will encourage everyone to go over and subscribe to your channel to hear more of those stories about what kind of stuff went on behind the scenes, some of all that Miscavige craziness. I'm seeing in the chat that Matt and Amy actually have a live Q&A going on right now. So what I want to do is end this.
okay.
And for all of you who are watching this live stream, once I end it, is going to auto redirect to Matt and Amy's live Q&A. But at least we got a chance to talk a little bit about this, Jackson, and let's do it again. But I don't want to step on their Q&A. In fact, I want to help drive some viewers over there. Okay.
Oh, okay, sure.
All right, cool. So guys, one more time, go and check out Jackson's YouTube channel, Gary Jackson Moorhead, for some fantastic stories. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stick around for Matt and Amy's live Q&A, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, people.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe.